Hi, I'm Mash Ponigala, brand strategist and creative director at Spellbrand. Bound to be a recession, right? It's already happening, it's already started. There's bound to be a recession. If your business is a brick and mortar, then right now it's shut, right? It's shut down. And especially if it's the hospitality sector, then you're probably suffering a lot. Essentials such as stores that sell essential supplies, essential goods, groceries, food stores, supermarkets, these I think are actually thriving in a sense. And if you're an online business or an online brand, then it's not really all rainbow and sunshine, right? Because it depends on the kind of service that you're offering or the kind of goods. Goods, luxury services, travel, yeah, those are all really taking a hit. Branding, for example, yeah, we're a brand agency and we are already taking a hit, a huge hit. But that trend is actually starting to, it plateaued out over the last couple of weeks and now it's starting to rise. And that's because, of course, people are sitting at home and they are thinking about opportunities that they can sort of go for when everybody's online and so on and so forth. And in fact, that is the reason why I was motivated to do this video. Because the first thing is that when you have an opportunity, as a brand, you got to be responsible on how you approach that opportunity. Short-term opportunities, short-term hits where you can make a bit of revenue are okay as long as you're not really going against the DNA of your brand, right? You're going against what your brand stands for. If your brand stands for something. If it doesn't, then of course, it needs to stand for something. And raising prices and really trying to take advantage of the vulnerability of people at this time is a complete no-no, right? As a brand, you shouldn't be doing it at all. Believe me, you shouldn't be doing it. If you care for your brand, then any kind of a shortcut, any kind of a price hike has to be done with a genuine kind of intention. If the cost of securing your services, procuring your products, and then providing them to your customers, if that has gone up, then yes, you can increase your prices. But if your market segment is creating a kind of a fake scarcity, then that's a big no-no, right? So these are some of the fundamental things that you need to think about. But the question is, what do you do as a brand? What are you doing as a brand so that you can survive this pandemic and then come out at the end better, stronger, a better brand, so to speak, right? It's not just about revenues, but it's about surviving a pandemic or a global recession is always about transforming. It's about changing, You're actually changing for the better. You're going from being a good brand to a great brand, right? So that is the intention, and that should be the intention. If you haven't already thought through, this is what you need to be thinking about. The first thing you need to be thinking about is your brand strategy and positioning strategy. So this is an opportunity for you where your usual kind of path, your usual framework is not working out, right? So things are on lockdown, and even after we come out of lockdown, and this could be a month, or this could be 2 months, 3 months, right? So even after that, the way people interact, the way people purchase, the way people buy, it's going to change. It's definitely going to change. So you need to look at your brand strategy. You need to look at your positioning strategy. The conditions that led to where you are right now in terms of your market segment, in terms of your customers, in terms of your revenue, that's going to change. So how should you kind of adapt how should you pivot so that you align with the new world? Now, I might sound dramatic when I say new world, as if, once this is over, it's going to be completely different. We're going to do things completely different to what we've done. You know what? You'll be surprised. I think it would happen, at least for some sectors. So at least for some brands, at least for some market segments. It is going to happen. So you need to rethink your positioning strategy, your branding strategy. What does that mean? It means that if you haven't already done so, now is the time to take a step back and think about your brand as an entity. The brand essence. Do you have core values? Do you have a vision? Do you have a mission? Right? And what kind of communication or messaging strategy do you have? How have you been operating till now to gain customers, to gain market share, mind share, right? With this lockdown, with the kind of social distancing happening, and the eventual or already happening kind of recession, think through how your target audience is going to react, right? That is fundamental. Put yourself in their shoes and think through and say, the product or service that I offer, is it essential? And at the moment, yes, but even after the lockdown, even after things come back to normal, right? However long that takes, can I improve this product or service? How can I pivot so that in the future, I would not be affected by things like this? Now, you may not be able to change your product or service. That's fine. How about the marketing? How about the way you're reaching people? Now is the time to get started on video. Now, I've done a lot of videos on the power of videos and how 2020 and beyond is, it's going to be video in terms of marketing, right? So what are you doing about that? Right now, get started. Set the foundation so that your communication is on videos. In fact, it's not just about marketing. The second big thing that you need to think about when you're talking about a brand surviving a pandemic is, what are you doing right now to communicate with your existing customers? If you're going to office, if you're going to your shop or whatever it is, and you're communicating with your customers, you already have a way of doing that. But right now, with this lockdown, people are at home. What are you doing? Are you reaching out to your customers? Video, again, is the best way. Start a channel. Put up videos on your website. Talk to your customers. Keep that, are you safe? Are you okay? That to a minimum. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that everyone is doing it. So it becomes a little bit of a cliche. And, people sitting at home don't want to really goo goo gaga, that kind of a thing, right? So yeah, just show them that you are concerned, show empathy, and then quickly move on to talking about number one, what you're doing, what your brand is doing. Okay, what are you doing in terms of making sure that your supply chain is going on? What about in terms of your product, in terms of your service? For example, in our case, we have the luxury of working remotely. But even though we do have some options where we're coming into the studio and we're isolating, because luckily everyone has cubicles. We do have a bit of an open floor kind of plan, but most of the team members have cubicles, so that was an advantage. I think open plan offices are going to be changing in the future, because when the next pandemic comes along, you get the idea, right? So just let your customers know how you're going to fulfill your orders. Keep them updated on what's happening if you're out of stock, or if your services cannot be provided, right? Because of remote working or whatever it is. Next, think of frameworks or systems that can mitigate this kind of disasters. And this could be not just a pandemic, yeah, right? It could be a financial crisis, and this is what it's going to happen, right? The financial crisis. Set up systems in place for your brand so that you can mitigate the risk. What that means is, if you need to have a studio, if you need to have an office, if you need a space where your team has to come together to provide services for your clients or products for your clients, maybe they need to walk into you. If it's a shop, then you need to come up with systems in place so that if a lockdown happens, you can still continue to provide your services. Remote working is going to take off like nothing else. So, in fact, now is the time to say, can we really pivot so that we go complete remote? Why? Because you can save money. Why have, fancy offices and, offices in the middle of the city, downtown, where your staff have to commute? They're probably spending 2 hours already a day commuting. This is an opportunity to remove that, to try and see if you can change your business model, if you can change your framework, your infrastructure, and invest on that so that your teams can work remotely. And you need to change the mindset that remote working means that your team will not provide their 100%. In fact, research has proven that working from home actually gives the best, brings the best out of people. Yes, there will always be some bad players who would be taking advantage of this and not really working, but you can mitigate that. You can mitigate that by setting up remote systems that can be monitored, at least if it is possible in their house, to secure a space and set up a camera so that at least you can monitor. Now, of course, there's privacy, but then you are monitoring your employees in your office, right? So anyway, there are many good videos and people who are talking about remote working and how to. And so I'm not going to really spend any time on this video. I will let you do your own due diligence and research online to see the best way to do that. But that is something that you can think about. Setting up systems, setting up frameworks. Another thing is for your brand to try and help your customers at this time. Genuine help, right? If you can help your customers or any cause, because what you do now matters. It shows the kind of genuine brand you are. It will show the DNA of your brand, right? Now is the time to sort of bring out that hidden charity, the non-profit kind of side of your brand, right? The core essence that to help people, and in whatever way you can. If your service, through your service or your product, if you can, that's fine. If not, support a charity, but not for marketing purposes. Genuine support. And also be vocal. Go online, talk about things, especially that align with your target audience. How can you communicate with your target audience in terms of this pandemic and how they can become better people, how they can mitigate their risk, how they can thrive, so on and so forth. If you have an angle, then use that angle. Go and talk about it. Because this is not just about marketing. This is about you building a brand. This is about you making sure that your brand is seen as someone who cares, who has empathy, and so on and so forth. And of course, this goes back to the roots of your brand core values and things like that. So you need to draw all those in and try and strengthen your brand. Okay, I'm going around in circles, so I will summarize quickly. Right now is the time for you to go back to the roots so that you can build your brand into a stronger brand, a greater brand. That means you need to reevaluate your core values, your vision, mission. Think about the future. Yes, this is going to be fixed. This COVID, this pandemic, eventually it will. We've done it in the past, we will do it. The global recession, yeah, that might take a little longer to get fixed, to get sorted. So there will be some hardships. But the fact of the matter is that this is going to change the way the world works. Fundamentally, it's going to change the way the world works. And so you need to be prepared for that. You need to think. Thinking is the order of the day. Okay, analyze your brand, analyze how you're doing things, analyze your service, your product, how you're communicating with your customers, with your target audience, with your potential customers, how you are marketing. You need to think through all these things. And now is the opportunity for you to build a stronger brand. And I've done a lot of videos in the past on how to build stronger brands. Just check them out. I will leave links below this video. Check them out. Also, if you have any questions about your particular brand, and if you're unsure, if you are sort of panicking a little bit, the first thing is, of course, don't panic. Remain calm. But reach out to me, right? Let's have a brand strategy session. We can get on a phone or a video call and let's talk about it. Maybe I can offer some advice. I can help you position, pivot, rebrand yourself so that you can mitigate the risk right now, but also be prepared for the new world. Okay, so let me know. If you have questions, leave them below. I will try and answer them. But in the meanwhile, stay at home, at least for the moment, wash your hands and think. All right, take care.